every time you are mentioning, you are talking about core values.
Yeah.
So each and every individual should have that core values that I have learned from you. I am implementing that. I am getting very good results.
Okay.
So my
Wonderful.
major intention when it's coming to professional and personal, the major one thing what I have learned, I should be the role model to my children and other my colleagues also. So my core values. That is what I have learned. So I'm getting very good positive results and positive vibrations also
Wonderful.
wherever I am going. That is
Wonderful.
what I have learned.
Very encouraging. And thank you so much, Srinivas. We all can give him a virtual applause. And we have the tool with us. We can just type it and give a virtual applause. And that's what, that's what precisely, Srinivas, I was mentioning, that this encourages me. And that's what I also feel, that I love to come here again and again. And I also wait for this moment to come here and share whatever best I can provide from my learnings and sharings. Wonderful. Anybody else who would like to share any experience? And I would love to hear it, so that it's good for people who are coming for the first time. They can also take a feel, and next time when they are here and they take some learning out of it, they can go back and try something else. Anyone else? Okay, no problem. So good, absolutely, because we have to be watchful of the time. I have enough time, because I remember last time when I was doing this event, I forgot my charger, and we had precisely, it got over at 1 hour exactly. But today everything is in place, so no need. I mean, there would not be a worry about all these factors. So great. Before I really move forward further, we generally do a small poll, and I would be doing a poll with all of you. In next few seconds you will see a poll coming on your screen. Do go and register your poll on that, so that it also gives me an idea what the group feels, what exactly are the things that they need to look at it, and basis which we will have an idea that what are the things that are applicable. So that is the poll I am shooting in front of you. So people who are coming for the first time, they can always look into it, whatever is applicable. I'll give you 1 minute. You can go through this and you can give your vote. I hope this is visible to all of you. Okay. So 15 of you have responded. It's about 1 minute. I can give you another 30 seconds. 17 of you, 4 of you are still left. Uh, okay, great. So 95% people have already voted, and the time stops now. So I'm ending the poll. And thank you so much for giving your voice. I think out of all of around 23 participants or 22 participants that we have, uh, all of you are keen, most of you rather, I would say 20 of you are keen that you're looking to grow into positions of increasing responsibility. So that's a very good sign, because that shows that you have an intent to move ahead. And that is important for anyone to grow in their career, because anything which is important is that how you grow and make your business more profitable, get more promotions, and move ahead in your career. And that's the endeavor that we will try to address. How will this program? So are you trained and ready to take up the next leadership role? 55% said yes, and 45% said no. So that's great. So are you trained? No, we are not trained, but maybe you are not ready also. But 55% said that they are ready to take up the next leadership role. So I'm highly excited, and all the best to all 11 of you that you achieve your missions and visions very soon. And what type of training and development do you feel that would need to reach your goals? So now this is the group is highly divided. 50% says that value-based leadership, that is inspirational leadership, people would love to know. 40% says that situational leadership, that is leading others. And planning and organizing and integrity, that is leading by example. That's what we always talk here. And 30% of the people said that goal setting and self-leadership. So these are the outcomes that are seen out of this vote. And I'm sure each one of you would understand that that's the group feel. And I'm going to talk a lot about many of those things that are going to come in this. And I want that wherever you feel that you are not prepared, or even if you're prepared, but you are not able to be reaching the successful or pinnacles of your success, try to take a leaf out of this learning and add that in your dictionary, and add that not only in your dictionary or in your book or in your learning cycle, but practice that when you go back in your difficult situations that you face. I love that you to interact with you, that when you come back, share your problem, let's try and find out a solution, and so that you can progress ahead. There would be many challenges. It's because, see, leadership is a skill, and any skill will only come with a lot of practice. And that is what the intent over here is this. Now we move ahead with our program, and some basic slides. This is about me. Some of you would know me, or most of you would be knowing me. I am Arun Tukral. I head HCN, which is Human Capability Network. As the name suggests, we believe in building capabilities through networking, and we deal in recruitments. But this forum, this program, or our group is not meant for any recruitment activity. You would have seen that we don't even post a single job there. Neither we try to push anybody to get into this. Our whole intention is capability building. Let me tell you, friends, that when we started HCN, the whole idea that was started maybe around 5 years back, or maybe 8 years back, when I was conceiving this whole idea in my mind, the whole idea was that I found in my role that, as you all know, that we follow our managers, we follow our leaders to such a great extent that wherever our manager or our boss goes, we also start moving towards those companies, and we tend to move from one company to another company, and our journey moves on like that. And while this was all happening, and when I moved to one of the organizations in 2004 or 5, I believe, uh, uh, some of my teammates wanted to join me, as it happened in the industry that my boss has moved, so boss will take his team. And in that journey, I found that 1 or 2 people only could qualify, while I knew that the rest of the 3 or 4 people were highly competent. And I wanted them to come on board, because I know that they may not be very highly sophisticated or brushed up with respect to showing their capabilities in an interview. But I know when they will touch the market, they can do wonders. But friends, let me tell you that they were outrightly rejected. It was, from my boss, and it was kind of a dejection at my end that my teammate got rejected. In spite of the best effort, I could not take them, and I had to take the choices which was given to me by my boss, and they came from a background. And those are the areas, that pinched me a lot. And that was how the word HCN was striking my mind, that how we can help people to build capabilities. They should not be just dependent upon that if their boss moves from here to there or anywhere else, that they need to go and just blindly follow it. Their core role is, wherever you are right now, you need to develop your capabilities, because that is the only thing that if you build your capabilities, they can take you ahead in your career. Otherwise, rest everything will be like you're following the footsteps. You will move from A place to B place. And I have seen many people moving like this. But friends, let me tell you that they may move up in their career. They may also have higher salaries than what you are drawing right now. But the work satisfaction will never be there. There would always be, a gap in their work satisfaction, because they have always worked under one shadow, where they never grew properly in terms of whatever they are trying to achieve. And that's where Human Capability Network comes. And that's where my role as a learning and development manager, I'm not a trained HR into L&D. This is my passion. That's why I'm sitting in front of you. I spend my entire week in going through articles, writing blogs, developing videos, and sharing my learnings with each one of you. And this is the time when I sit with you all, I feel really glad. So how many of you are keen? to learn more about leadership? How many of you are keen to know how to progress in the career? How many of you are in this journey with me? Just type yes on this chat box. Then let me get some water. Hello? Am I audible to all? Yeah, hi. Am I audible to all?
Yeah, audible.
I think I felt that I lost the connection. Is that so? Am I audible, friends? Am I audible or visible? Just help me to type on the chat box.
Yes, you're very much audible.
Okay, so since I thought that I might have lost the connection, I was just wondering that whether I'm visible because nobody responded on the chat box. So shall I move ahead? I need a thumbs up or a yes so that I know that all of you are connected. Somewhere I'm finding that the things have just gone slow. So may I know how many? Can you just type yes if you are there on the system? If I'm audible, can you just type yes?
Arun, you are audible and visible both.
But I didn't
Continue,
find.
please.
Yeah, but I'm not able to find anybody responding. That's the reason.
Everybody is responding on chat box.
I'm surprised why I'm not able to
Everybody is
see
responding.
what has happened to my chat box. I'm not able to see anything. Anyways, if that is the case, let me continue. Then that's the best thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Arun, there could be a problem in net speed because we all are responding and we can see you as well and we can listen your voice as well.
Okay, thank you, Niharika. Thank you very much because I absolutely got blank. I felt that nothing is coming on the screen in terms of I can see only myself, but I could not see anything that is coming on the screen. Wonderful. So if as long as you are call connected, I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah,
You are
please.
pretty much audible.
Okay, wonderful. So friends, just to continue, what is HCN Ahead? HCN Ahead is a program to keep you all ahead. The whole idea is that it's a mission to help more than 1,000 professionals who want to take leadership roles in their career sooner or later. and we have kept it by 2018. And this is one medium to reach out to many of you professionals like this. And the other medium that we are trying to reach out is to go to various centers, places where I'm connected in other forums to reach out. And then we are doing some other programs which are paid programs where we are taking in more greater detail, and out of which one of the programs we did very recently, and that was last Saturday that we did. Followed by this program is also designed to develop the role of professionals as managers, coaches, counselors, and effective motivators. So the whole idea is that how each one of us can come together and then create a energy together to grow in our current role and identify what are those challenges that has already come or coming towards you can be sorted. Now, as I always highlight, these are some of the core values. One is passion. I think we all need to come with a lot of passion wherever we are working. For me, this is also my passion, that out of all my busy schedule, whatever I have, I try and do whatever best possible. And this is only possible when you bring passion towards your work. And friends, I can tell you that this passion towards your work is the only thing that will always take you ahead, because this is something people will watch you. Automatically, this is visible. You can't fake it. So you need to build this passion in your work. These are some of my core values that I look at. Excellence means exceed expectations. It's always like this, that is it day one or one day? So it is day one means that this is my first day. This is the day I start. This is the day that I'm starting. Every morning when we wake up, this is like you have to think that this is my first day of my life. Not the day one or day two or day three that I'm counting the days, that how many years of experience that I have passed through. But it is always day one, which means that you are aiming for excellence. You're trying to do something better than what you have done yesterday. So every time when you are stuck, you need to look at it, that how I am trying to do things better than yesterday. And you need to keep a measure of this. So this is another value. Integrity, as I always say, that meeting the highest ethical standards, you need to walk your talk, because that's where people will respect leaders. These are some of the very important values that each leader should imbibe. Integrity ranks one of the topmost criteria. Now, if I have to just say that you look at any leader that you follow, or you like any leader that you would like to follow, you would definitely find integrity as one of the most important factors that would come in his or her work area. And that is one of the reasons that you say, yes, out of all these things, I trust that person because he's honest, or he is the guy whom I trust just because that he has very high values of integrity. Leadership, which is like courage to rise above challenges. We are going to talk about it. What are those? What is the courage means? What are the challenges means? And most importantly, as I always highlight about, inspire others to rise. This is again my passion, that how I'm inspiring others to rise in their current role. And these are the values and guiding values that I follow. So I'm sure each one of you look into your own guiding values, because as a leader, this is one of the first and foremost thing that you all need to imbibe. If you're already doing it, you need to look at it more consciously, because many times people look at it subconsciously. So every time when you set your vision goals, when you set your day, when you set your year for the whole year, when you plan, you need to look back these values. And these are the values which will bring you back whenever you are deviated from your path, whenever you feel that you are lost the way, whenever you are having a bad day, whenever you are feeling that there is something wrong which is happening, which is not in your control, you need to go back.
Sorry to interrupt you. Please
Yes.
ask to mute their.
People are not muted here, because I'm listening only one voice.
Kindly ask them to mute.
Okay, I request people to please mute, because at this point of time, even I need to look at it. That give me a minute. I think most of them are muted except me, and I believe so. Okay, great. Thanks. And today I think technology is doing something funny, because for the first time I'm not able to see any chat. But anyhow, so these are some of the core principles that you need to imbibe as a core values, because core values will take your career ahead. So today in this program, this is what we talk, that this is the inspirational leadership model, that is start from self-leadership, then leading by example, leading others, and then becoming an inspirational leader. And this is the journey, you friends, that all of us have to take and should take, because somewhere in our lives, whether you are a parent, whether you are a brother, sister, or anybody, you know, in your friend circle, you have to follow this basic principle. And this all starts with the basic thing, that is self-leadership. If your self-leadership model is good, automatically people will start follow you. When people will start follow you, you start looking at things from an angle that you start leading others. When you start leading others, people will look at you, or you start looking at it that you become an inspirational leader. But friends, for this, it demands a lot of sacrifice, it demands a lot of discipline, and it demands a lot of punctuality. A lot of factors are there, and that comes only in self-leadership. If I know what are the values that I need to know, why I'm here on this earth, why I'm here, what to deliver, that happens through self-leadership. If your self-leadership model is very clear, I can tell you, you can easily move into leading by example. Easily. And that's the journey. And I'm sure a lot of our netas and a lot of our so-called thought leaders, key opinion leaders, they undergo this journey, and it takes a lifetime people to build this, because every day is filled with a lot of challenges. We all know that there is a change which is constant, and all of us want constant in our life, but we need to understand that how we reach that constant stage. That means you need to always live in a changed environment, and that's where self-leadership is one of the basic parameter and pillar. If this is stronger, your life will keep going on. You may find people with 20 years, 30 years, 50 years of experience, but when it comes to delivering their own self-leadership value, they will fail. And that's where they are not liked, or they are not being followed, or they are not being listened, or they are not being influenced, and nobody gets influenced by them. And that's where self-leadership is something that you need to work on. So we have talked a lot in our last session on last Saturday. And that's where I say that you need to align your personal values. That's what I said. If it is integrity, means integrity. That means I will follow the path of integrity even if nobody is watching me. That's where your self-leadership, that brick, becomes more stronger. Because then only will people or you become an inspirational leader in this model. Great. So what's leadership? I think this is what we have discussed. It's a progressive journey. It's not that I have achieved, like, it's not a degree that I'm an MBA, I'm a BBA, or I'm a graduate. This is a progressive journey. Every day, every time there is something that is coming towards you, that is challenging you. It may be your competition. It may be a new thing that has come, new technology which has come, or a customer has been influenced by somebody else, and you need to behave, or your boss automatically, your boss got changed, your MD got changed, your company has been taken over. All these things that happens around us are basically making changes around our environment. So what is important is that leadership is progressive. And that's what I said, courage to rise above challenges. So this is a path of leadership which is always progressive. Then what is important is that in this progressive journey, you need to have realization. That realization means that you need to be satisfaction has to be there, that whatever you are doing is delivering as per your values. Because many a times, as I was telling in my previous example, that people, they reach the designation wise on the top of the role, but still they are not satisfied, because somewhere in the heart of heart, they know that how they have reached that place. So you don't need to worry about that. What you need to worry about that today, if I am at the top, it is not because of the designation or the money that I am earning. It is because of the realization that how I have grown as a professional by following my values. And that's where the whole realization process gives you more satisfaction. So it's not the outer world what people see. People always respect the inner world. That means your own personal satisfaction can give you the leader. Not that somebody, you are walking out and people say, okay, sir, you are such a nice, such a big person. So it's not, that is not leadership. And the moment you turn your back and the person says, thank God he has gone from this space. So that is not leadership. Leadership is always internal. And as I said, that this is your internal realization that will give you more satisfaction that you are on the right path. So this is something that you need to look at it. Then worthy. Is it that you feel that you can sleep in the night? Does it give you a very peaceful sleep in the night? Because when you know that you have delivered, you have lived your values throughout the day, that's where your worthiness of that leadership, you shine more without any makeup or without any design or without any fancy car. People will stop at you and respect you because of your worthiness. And that worthiness comes by when you follow your values. And most importantly, leadership is also setting your goals, because when you keep setting your goals, you keep moving ahead, you keep moving ahead, you keep moving ahead, you set new benchmarks, you reach the excellence. That's what I said, exceed expectation. You need to keep exceeding your expectation. Once you reach this, you need to look at this, and then you need to look at this. So it's a progressive journey. So manifestation of a good luck that results from inspiration, aspiration, desperation, and perspiration is leadership. This is leadership is all about. Are you all with me? Can I see some thumbs up or yes, that yes, you are all with me on this path? This is what I feel leadership is all about. It's all about satisfaction. Okay. So, well, I'm not able to see anything. So I believe that things are going fine. So we'll figure it out later on that why this chat box is not behaving the way it should be. Okay, great. Let's move ahead. This is one program. This is one chart that we decided we made recently in HCN, and we saw it somewhere, and then we imbibed it with some of our own values. So people generally look at that, somebody who is sitting at the top, that he has reached like this. So it is never a straight line. When you start your objective, when you start your journey, and you want to achieve your goal, it is always zigzag. What you think, you start going down, then you're going up, and then you need to look at various challenges. This zigzag is basically all the challenges that you see, and these challenges are the only things that keeps us up, and these challenges are those challenges which helps us to build our competencies. Because with these competencies that we build in our journey, the challenges that we face helps us to achieve our goals. Because if we don't develop our competencies, many people, they start their journey, and within 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year, they forget that what was their goal, and they get into the operational or a tactical mode. They are not into the strategic mode. Today we will talk about what is tactical and what is strategic. That I'll share some of my example, my own personal example, my personal story I'm going to share today. So that's what the challenge is. And if you don't understand what is the start and what is the end, and you don't undergo this journey by planning, preparing yourself, and practicing, and then performing, you will never be able to achieve your goal. And that's the reason many of us are stuck where we are. And why we are stuck? Because we are not working to build our competencies. We are just repeating the same thing, what we saw from our boss, what my boss saw from his boss. And that's there, in my last webinar, we talked about Mr. Randy, who is a CEO of Leadership Management International, that what leadership practices used to happen 50 years back, people are still doing the same. And the world has changed a lot. And that's what we need to look at it, how the world is changing a lot, what I need to do in terms of shaping it up. I hope this is very clear and simple to understand. And how many of you see yourself, your learning curve is getting flattened? Just type yes. After a few years of your service, whether it is 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, you feel that, your learning curve is flattening as the number of years are going up. How many of you feel so? Just type yes, I feel so. My learning curve is getting flattened. Can I see some yes? That yes, how many of you feel that yes? Maybe somebody. So I hope you are typing there, right? So I don't know whether I have pressed some button.
Yes, Arun. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, our learning curve is getting flattened now.
You're getting flattened now. So
the same thing last 1.5 years that we used to learn earlier.
Okay. So why this happens? So why this happens that our learning curves get flattened? Because the simple reason is that we start working only in the performance zone. We only get into the execution mode. We only want that, let's go and execute it because I know this job very well. And that's the reason, when people change their job and they move from one job to another job, for the first 6 months, 1 year, they feel very great. Wow, wonderful. This company has wonderful product, wonderful people. And when they start working after 3 months and 6 months, they realize I'm doing the same work. What is the difference? And that's what, if you look at the first rise that this bar is seeing, this is the initial years of your life or initial years of your job, that you're excited, you are absolutely empty. And the moment you start filling in, you feel that now it is flattened. Why? Because you are not into the learning zone, you are mostly into the performing zone. So every time you go and just go for the war, but you don't practice it. So somebody is going to come and beat you. Somebody is going to tell that I can do better job than this person, even half of his salary. And that's where young generation is getting into this little faster, because the older ones are the guys who have now become senior, and of course the younger one will also become senior some point of time. So they are not trying to learn new things, they are only copying what they have seen it. So you need to keep training yourself. That's what one of the questions that I asked in one of my blogs, that how often are you training yourself? Is it once a day, once a week, once a month, or once a year? How much time you are spending on your training and development? And if you are not doing so, I can tell you, you will become obsolete very soon. And the proof of that obsolete is that either you don't get your salary hikes, or you don't get your promotions, or you are not recognized in your system. And you need to keep moving with the time, because if you don't do it, either you become very high on a package in the same designation, or you become redundant to the market because you are not learning and pacing with the market speed. And that's what the challenge this flattened curve is going to give you. So how fast, how aligned you are with the changes of the market is the need of the hour. And that's what you need to look at it. You need to keep warming yourself up in terms of building your skills continuously. It is not a one-day process. As I said, leadership is a progressive area. So you need to keep identifying. Now somebody may say, okay, that's fine, Arun, but how do I identify that, what are the things that are needed? So very simple. First, you set your goals. Once you set your goals and you start working to achieve those goals. Now, when you start working to achieve those goals, you will find there is some challenges coming up. Something is coming up to stop you in achieving those goals. It may be your own laziness. It may be your own priority setting. It may be your different pressure zones. Now, these are those areas where you are weaker, or these are those areas where you need to improve upon. Start writing them down. Start understanding what are my strengths areas, what are my areas that I need to work, and then work on it. And the moment you work on those areas, you will find that you are reaching closer to your goals. And that's what, friends, we need to look at it in this progressive journey that we are ahead. And that's what I'm saying, that this program is only useful to any one of you who is attending, is not the gyan that you are going to take, because this is not a training program. Let me be very clear. I'll be telling you, this is not a training program. This is all about my experience sharing that can help anyone to move into a leadership path. Now, what you need to do is you need to go practice it, share it with us, that what have you done? What are you going to do it? How it is going to benefit you? What things you have started changing yourself in one area, at least one area. And let's be honest, this is a very neutral platform. I'm not keen that what is your designation. I'm not keen what is your company. Not at all. I'm only saying that in your leadership journey, what changes you are doing it and how you are achieving success. That's my success. And that is because I am highly passionate about this. And that's the reason I'm doing all this program. So go back and start thinking those areas which are stopping you to achieve that. Identify that, write it down, and then start. We shared a goal sheet also in our WhatsApp group. I can share it again. And I want people to first write goals. I can tell you, even in the group when we shared, only 3% or 1% of the people have only filled that goal sheet. Now you can understand that if 1% of the people are filling that goal sheet, what would be the result on? But imagine if 50%, 60%, or even 100% people fill that, what would impact that would create? What an impact that will come to the whole world and into the areas wherever you are right now in any part of the country. The people around you will also be impacted. And that's what leadership means. A great leader, the core role is he or she creates more leaders. And when you go back, I want you to try create that positive energy around you, whether with your peers, whether your sisters, friends, brothers, bosses, any area where you feel that you can take this ahead. This is something that you need to look at it and take that positive energy. And I can tell you the best way to take it, create your own small community and start sharing there so that your learning and your effectiveness become much better. And then they will find that this flattened curve will start moving slowly up. And this reflection will come in your work as well. So are you all with me? Great. So what's leadership? So I was going through one of the surveys, leadership surveys, and I found that it's mentioned that leadership is an act of taking ownership of business results delivered by people. I like this definition, but it's very simple. Taking ownership of for business results delivered by people. So that means whatever is the result, whether it is bad or good, I take the ownership of that. It's not my people's fault. It's about I take the ownership. That means that the results are coming out of the virtue of the effort that I'm doing it. So that's leadership. How many of you agree on this? Just one sec. Okay, let's move forward. And what are the 3 most important skills a leader need to have? Can somebody tell me this? We really need to figure out that why this chat box is not showing anything. Can you see if I type something here? Can somebody connect with me on this?
Yes, Arun, we can see what you are typing.
But I can't see anything that you guys are typing. That's the funny part. I don't know what this technology is doing. And
Yeah, right.
and you all can see this, right?
Yes, yes.
Wonderful. So this is what changes. And I need to really understand that what this change is. So it's this technology is telling me that today I am absolutely blind. I'm just going blind, and I need support of you all together to take me through this. So bear with me today, and I'll figure it out that what went wrong. So anyways, so what are the 3 most important skills a leader need to have? What I got sense from that research study is 1 is strategic thinking, 2 is communication, 3rd is decision making. So one of the studies that I was seeing, that because you will find that there are various surveys and there are various discussions forums that happens. You will find that some or the other things will come. Sometimes communication is on the top, strategic thinking is on the bottom, result orientation is on the top, some decision making will come. But these are some of the very, very prominent things that a leader needs to have. Now I'll give you one of my own example that how strategic thinking helped me. And I'll give you one small story about my own self, that how I had to think about it, because that was for me a make or a break situation in my career. And there are many situations that has come, but that was one of the things that I thought, which is very close to me, and I thought of it, sharing it today. So this is some around 10-15 years back, maybe around 12-15 years back. When I came to Delhi, I was posted in Kolhapur. And for the first time, I came to a market like Delhi, where I was transferred within my own organization, and I entered into this market for the first time. And let me tell you, friends, working in a metro was never my cup of tea. I have worked in places where within 5 or 10 kilometers, the entire city is covered. And when I entered Delhi, the place where I used to live and the office I used to go was almost 50 kilometers one side. As we know in Delhi, this is 50 kilometers or a 40 kilometer is a very normal thing. But for me, where the entire city is covered in 5 or 10 kilometers, only going from one end to one end was 40 kilometers. So I still remember I asked somebody for the first day I was going to an office, when I traveled 20 kilometers, I told them that this is how I have traveled this much and how far is that place. He said, you have to go another 20 kilometers. And that was a shock of my life, that where I have come. My expenses shot up, which I never thought of, and the organization did not change much in my salary structure. So I thought that, the same money which I was saving is going out, and I'm into a place where people said that you will get a lot of exposure. And what I was finding is even saving a single rupee was becoming a big challenge. And when I entered this market, I very categorically remember that I was like an outsider, because there were people who are from Delhi, who used to live in Delhi, and and they had a set system for themselves. They knew how the market behaves, how the business happens, how everything was happening. And for me, I was absolutely an outsider, and I had no clue about it, that what is a territory, what is a business territory I'm likely to get, what is the territory which gives more business, which territory gives less business, which person is more effective. So I was an area business manager at that time. So which territory gives, which person is more high performing, no idea. Just the figures that I got. And we had a new boss, and he gave the authority to one of our senior colleagues. And I was given a territory which was the least productive, and I would say that the people were like totally disoriented in that territory. And after working for the initial 2 or 3 months, I started picking up the pieces, and I started realizing that where I am. And it was a stage that I could not even mention a single word against anybody, that, they have played against me, and they have given me a market which is absolutely rubbish. And they have taken the cream, because they used to be on target month on month, and I used to be failing on my targets month on month. Or the target gap between the achievement gap was so high that it was very difficult for me to achieve it. And slowly I was getting into a non-performing zone. Though I was performing in my last role, but then I started moving into a non-performing role. And a reflection was building up, the negativity was building up within me, that every evening when I used to reach back home, I used to have a lot of work, because first of all, I was coping up with the city, the kind of pressure the city gives you. And secondly, the second pressure was to perform. And third is to also showcase that you are a material who is fit for a market like Delhi. And that challenge was growing and growing and growing as every day was passing. I used to find, and on the top of it, we all know that there are other challenges that you come across, the social pressure, your family, your relatives, everybody wants you to be there, and you need to live up to the social standards. So a lot of things were happening, and on the other side and that was a point I used to tell in my family, that probably this is the worst decision that I have taken to come to Delhi, because Delhi is something that is going to kill me, and either I should leave this job and I should go back. And that's where, the problem was going. And I remember very categorically in many of the meetings, one manager said, who was from Delhi, but in that year he was he also joined new, like I came to Delhi in that year. He was in some other location outside in Punjab, and he wanted to come to Delhi, and he used to say that you move Arun out of this city and let me come here and I can create miracles. And this was a situation. So on one hand, I was facing this kind of tough situations, challenges, and on the other hand, now that's where, all these things that were given to me. So I got one thing very clear, that either I leave this job, I look for, and I know that I was not likely to get a new job in the market, because I was absolutely raw. Nobody will give me a new job in this place. So I knew that this is the only place that I had to do my karma over here, so that whatever I do, because in any case I was going down every single day that I was going in the market. My business results, though it used to be a pool territory, but at the same time, each individual was reflecting their business numbers. And friends, that's where I started, because I had most of the government accounts in those days. And government accounts, if you are not approved inside the business, you are absolutely zero business. You are absolutely zero. And then there was a small light in that dark tunnel that came out. And that small light was that in one of the leading hospitals in Delhi, we had one approval which was lying even before my joining, and that lit up. That started. And when that started, it gave me a sense, and that's where, friends, my strategic thinking, I mean, now I'm realizing that was a strategic thinking, and that's where you move from a subconscious mind to a conscious mind now. And that's where my strategic thinking worked. I then started working on understanding that if I can convert this particular hospital business, it can create wonders, and I can cover my deficit, and I can build my business. And that was something that in those days, there was no business in the government that our organization where I was working was doing at all. The business was absolutely zero from the government area. I'm talking somewhere in 2002 and 2003. Or 2003 or 2004, I'm talking about. Now, that was the time that I started looking at. I then decided that let me give my 100% to this business, because this one business, if I convert, it can turn around the entire perception about me, as well as it can always create a situation. So Jan, Feb, March, it was absolutely bad. And in April, when the financial year got open, the new budgets came into the hospitals, because we all know in the government hospitals, the funding is only up to March. And I joined this territory in January, somewhere in December, and started January. And then April came and the new funds came in. Now, this was a product which was a high value product, and this was like used in various problems again and again. Now, this is the time when I started, I completely analyzed the entire hospital scenario, and I knew that if I reach out to the right people, this can give a kick. And friends, by the time it happened somewhere in May end or early June, we cracked the highest ever order of around I think 12 or 15 lakh. I mean, those days, 12 or 15 lakh order coming from a one single territory was a big achievement. And all of a sudden, there was a noise. It was like an explosion that kind of a situation happened, that our head office team rushed to Delhi, and specific visit was made along with me by the senior directors. They all came. What happened all of a sudden? Because they never heard of it. The government has such a potential, except only one government account, that was Army. Because apart from Army, nobody knew that there is another government business, maybe CGHS or DHS, was also existing. And by the time I had done all my homework, that what exactly happens, what is the entire business cycle, and that's where my story began. And the truth is that by the time we completed June, my entire team was on target, and we all achieved the first half awards and incentive for us. Now, this is where what I'm saying is that from a point that, and then all of a sudden, all those problems, all those situations started looking very rosy. Everything in the book started looking as per, it's like a textbook people can talk about. It's like a success book that happened. And for that, I think in 2004, the entire year, the second set of award between July to December also happened, and we earned not only huge incentives, but the entire team was on target. And all of a sudden, I started becoming visible in this. And I still remember in 2005, I started moving into I was given the charge of entire North India for a zonal institution business. So the point here is that somewhere all these three things I could implement it in those situations, in those tough situations, that helped me to move into that side. So my key learning was after that, since that period. So that was my turning period. That was my turning point of my career. That in that period, when the situations were worst and tough, I knew that I need to work harder, and I need to look at my clear strategic goals. What are my visions areas? What are my goals? How am I going to do it? How am I going to? One option is that I could have always run away from that situation. And from there on, things started moving up. And that's where, I felt that, yes, I could deliver something, and my promotions and other things also happened subsequently after that. How did you find it? Any learnings or anything that you would like to share? How did you find this? This is the real story. This is no hypothetical situation that I'm sharing with you all. So I'm sure each one of you would be somewhere on these paths sometime in your careers, and somewhere you need to start looking at it, that what are the one or two things that you need to identify and then start working towards it. And that is where you say courage to rise above challenges, not to run away from the challenges. That's the difference. So again, I look forward and let me see why this chat box is still working or not. So are you aligned with this? Can you try something like this in your situation? I'm sure each one of you would have done it, but somewhere you need to look at it strategically, that what are the things that can give you a big ticket response? So what are the things that can create you visible? What are the things that creates you value in the space that you're working? That only that you can do, that nobody else can do. That's what I mentioned recently about one of my blogs, that are you paid as per your potential? And that's where that potential will only, I mean, you will be paid only as per your potential when you show that you have the potential. And to show that potential, you need to work on your strengthening your core strength areas in terms of developing your competencies. And that's what you need to look at. So any case, if you find it interesting, just type, yes, I can also do it. Just type, yes, I can also do it. Okay, so somebody is not mute, I believe.
Pushpendra, can you please mute your device?
Yeah, I think I can hear it on my ears as well. Yes. Any comments?
Yeah, I have done it several times since I have been promoted as a area manager in Delhi.
Yes.
Since 2005, I am accepting the challenging and turning into the reality.
Yes.
So we have to create an example in front of our team as a leader.
Yeah.
We have to turn many challenges into the reality and prove that yes, we can do it.
Yeah. So most important thing is that when you move into a leadership role, as you rightly said, that you need to build as an example. You also need to look at it from the perspective that what are the skills that you need to develop? What are the skills? So strategic thinking. So you need to look forward. What strategic thinking means, you need to look forward. You need to look at it, that how it could behave. So maybe, as I said, that many of you would be doing it. You all have your own success stories. So what I'm trying to say is that you may be doing it subconsciously. You have to move into the conscious part of it. The more you come into the conscious part of it and you understand that, you move from operational work to a strategic work. And that's what you create your visibility in the space, whatever space that you are working with respect to your superiors and other leaders around you in your organization. Okay, so we move forward. And so what is the main driver for developing leadership skills? What is the main driver? The main driver is only two very important things. Again, this is a research that I'm showing: profitability and growth. So we all need more money, and we also need professional growth. We want to grow. That's my first question in the poll that I asked each one of you. How are you ready to take more senior roles or roles with more responsibilities? So that's what means that the more you grow, the more you earn money, and the more you become profitable. So this is one of the main driver for developing leadership skills, that people want professional growth. So when we ask people many times in our job interviews that why do you want to change the company, and the first answer people say, I'm looking for a professional growth. Now we'll talk about it, that can't you get that professional growth in your current role? So this is something that leadership is all about, that we need to look at it. Now this is one model that I shared last time, and I thought of repeating it because this is something which is very interesting. Now, if you look at it, these are some of the leadership evolution that has happened, and people are generally on these three areas in terms of. Now, this is something real gyan, where I feel that the concept has to understand. And if you look at it, this is what this entire slide means, that people who are transactional leaders, they are generally talking about their positions and they're talking about their power, and they use coercive leadership style where they will find that most of the people are disengaged, and this happens only with respect to people creating fear and punishment. This is what I say when I say fear and punishment means they use the power of their designation, they use the power of their visiting card, and they use the power of position. Because friends, we should not forget that the moment you are elevated, the moment you get a designation in terms of that X or Y number of people are going to report to you, not initially, but over a period of time, there is something called a power. And that's where, how you use that power, because every single word that you speak as a leader, which I'm going to talk further, is going to impact people, even good or bad, or even too good or too bad. Anything that you say is impacts your people. Because now, as I said, it's not your role, it's not you, it's not they. That's what we are going to talk. So the more you use power in terms of motivating people only by incentives and rewards, they are also momentary till the time is incentives, rewards, or punishments are there. So if you do this, I will give you this. If you don't do this, you will be punished for this. The moment you put this barriers, people will do compliance, people will follow you, but they are not going to get engaged. They are not still doing willingly. So somebody else will come and say, okay, you come and work for me and I'll give you X or Y incentives. And people say, okay, here I'm getting A or B, there I'm getting X and Y, and they will leave you. That means they are not engaged. They are not working for you. They are only momentarily working only for money part. But what is important is that transformational people who transform other people, that is driven by purpose. And that's where, when you're driven by purposeful leadership that you do, you reach a stage which is people are highly committed and highly engaged. And that's what we call it as culture. Now, who brings that culture? The culture is brought by leaders. Many a times I have seen that, what can I do? This person is like this, that person is like this. I keep telling that person, you need to do like this, but this person is not understanding my point. Now, the fact is that what kind of culture you are trying to build. The fact is that what kind of level of engagement you are trying to build. How are you helping that individual to transform? Now, this is where you need to create steps with respect to creating a vision, a purpose, where everybody has to be aligned. And that's the reason, great leaders or good leaders, they create a joint vision statement. That joint vision statement is lived and dreamt by everyone together. Once that happens, the automatic engagement starts. People feel connected to what they owe. Then it doesn't become the dream of a leader. It becomes the dream of everyone in the organization. So the more you do those kind of activities, you are basically inspiring people to come together, and then you will find self-motivation, trust, responsibility, and accountability come on its own. It doesn't come by virtue of pressure or position or fear and punishment. It only comes when there is a purpose. So if you have understood this slide, I can tell you that you need to figure it out, that where you are. And let me also tell you, that does not mean that you cannot be a coercive leader. You can be a coercive leader only with people or situations that you are given in. Suppose you are tomorrow given a situations that this place where people have become, very adamant. They are just doing the way they want, and they need a very strong leader. They need a very strong message. So you need people with coercive leadership style. But that is only for a certain period of time. You can't be coercive throughout your tenure. If you are a coercive leader throughout your tenure, what will happen? People will leave you. People will not work with you. So sometimes you need to give message. You need to be strict. You need to be dictator. But then you need to keep shifting your styles. But the more you are on the top end style, the higher are the chances of high engagement and high commitment. The lower are you on this side, the higher you are on the bottom side, the higher are the chances that you will lose people. You will lose their commitment. You will lose their charge. And that's what I'm saying, that's how the culture is built by leaders. And generally people who are new, who are promoted, they generally try to do so many things at the same time. And I have done it myself. I have done those mistakes. And when I make those mistakes, when I look back and I said that, yes, good that I made those mistakes, because then only I made that learning. So as I said in some of the, one of the blogs that I wrote, that if you want to increase the ratio of your success, double the rate of your failures. So if you double the rate of your failures, I'm sure you would be in a position to understand that what mistakes you have done. Even if you lose somebody good, you still realize that this is one of the reasons that I lost that person. So that is my life lesson, that I will not take more precautions, and that is what I say experience. It is not the number of years, it's that what do you do in every year that you work. And for me also, it's like day one. I try to be like day one. Maybe, I mean, people say that I'm 20 years, 24 years, and that's where I'm saying that mistakes only makes you a leader. What are the mistakes? But in our school days, in our early days, we are punished if we take mistakes, and this conditioning lives with us throughout our life. But at the same time, when you want to be a successful leader, you need to take that courage of making mistakes. Let's move ahead. I hope this is all done. Now I'm going to take a small sharing this one slide with you, where I wrote a blog recently, and this may be helpful for people. What makes you a worst and the best boss? This is something that I wrote 2 weeks back, and a lot of people talked about it. So one of the reasons is that would your employees today say you are their best boss ever? So not everyone. As I said, very few people would say, or very few, or one or two people would say. So the question is why? Can anybody tell me why? So even if you are not a boss, and if people are not reporting to you, there would be situations where you are reporting to your boss, and you may say that he may, or maybe your other peers may say that, because in our lifetime we come across, in those 20, 30, 40 years that we work, we come across various kinds of bosses, and somewhere you get one boss whom you don't want to work with, who is not the boss that you want to work with. But why that happens? Now I can't ask you to try it on chat box, because that would have given me an idea. Any thoughts, but anybody wants to share, so that I can use the mic and then we can understand that. So what makes a person a worst boss and a best boss? Any thoughts? Anybody? So nobody wants to talk about their boss. Nobody wants to talk about themselves. Yeah, I can see somebody has unmuted.
I personally, Arunji.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Hello.
Yes, I'm listening.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I personally feel if we encounter some boss who are anticipating the things which he is not able to perform in front of us, then we don't like him. Boss, we treat boss as a mentor, and if a mentor is doing as per our expectation and we can do better than boss, then we feel that why he is. And sometimes we encounter these kind of people who impose everything on you, but when you came in some trouble, they are not there to help you out, and they are not ready to give you solution for the problem. So we don't like these kind of boss, basically.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. So let me add to the point that you just said, that because everybody will have a different situation. You may have a very senior boss who is already a boss for last 20 years, and you may have a boss who is not even 2 months old into a new role, or maybe 2 years into that role and still learning. So it's all about your learning curve. Where do you want to take it ahead? But one of the surveys that I shared, and that came in the Times survey somewhere in 2016 or 14, which I shared in that today's millennials. So millennials are those individuals who have graduated in early 90s, and those who are now in job. They are showing more than 60% of disengagement in their job. That means they are not engaged in their job. And one of the reasons of the disengagement is not the pay, it's not the kind of salary hikes or the benefits that they are getting from the organization. It's the only reason is that why they are disengaged is because of their boss. So they are not happy with their boss, and due to which they are saying that they are not satisfied, and many of them want to leave their company. And we all know that we don't leave companies, we leave bosses. So this is one of the most prominent factor. Now, what the point I'm trying to make over here is that why do we have bad bosses? Now, the simple answer to that is that the day you are promoted, it's like very difficult for a person who is promoted recently, or even if you move to a new company or a new place, they need to understand one thing. Now it is not your job to go and do the business, because either you're under pressure or you're too excited to deliver results that you start doing the job of others. I also remember my days, when I was promoted initially, I used to run every territory, every market, every person that I want to be with. And the end result was that I was the most tired person in the end of the day, getting a zero result. Or the result was only because of my effort, not my team effort. So I used to think that how can I create 5 more of me and who can go and work. So the major point is that it's now not it's not about you, it's about your team. Everything that you do now is, first of all, how you set your team, how you bring the right people on your team, what kind of behaviors that you want to exhibit in your team. Now, this is what is your role. Your role now, if you do the business only and if you go and run for the business, then you are not a leader. Then you are one of the 4 and 5. That is why I still remember my bosses used to tell me or tell others that are you a senior rep, or you have become a senior or you are their boss. Now the problem is that our system, the way we are grown, is little bad, because we are trained that if we make mistakes, we are going to severely get punished. Now, the only way to work it out is that you need to start training yourself continuously. You need to start building your confidence continuously. And you need to start looking at those areas that now it is me who has to build the culture. Now, how do you build the culture? So, for example, that if we want to develop innovation, then there has to be a culture that people should come and join their heads together and try to find out solutions. Now, are you open to solutions? Somebody says, no, don't give me any solution. I want only business. Give me a business. So what culture we are talking? So that means the person will go into the market and he will bring business at any cost. Are you talking about that? Or are you talking about a person who is building a culture that you need to bring solution to the problem and then find a solution which is as per compliance or as per the right way to do the business? So that is what I call it as culture, how you build that culture, and this is built by the boss. And that's the role of the manager. And if people are not doing this, if people are coming and doing your job and they want to still showcase, you will say, my boss has come, let you come in the front and do the work. Let me come on the backside. You are here to now understand the behaviors of people. You are not here to showcase. You have already shown that. That is why you are the boss. Yeah. Any questions? So that's what I said. Is it the bad bosses are because they are new to the role or the lack of training? Because there is no school in this world which will tell you that the moment you become a boss, this is the training course you will do. There is no MBA that talks about leadership training. There is no MBA that tells you how to manage your team. We generally learn it through our experiences that we have undergone, and we try to copy our bosses or the styles that we see, and we try to do that. Yeah, any response that anybody would like to give here, since our chat boxes are not working? Let me take a sip of water. Tell me, anybody, any response on this? So it seems that you're all aligned. Wonderful. I was just seeing the watch. It is already 10:20, I believe, 10:15. So I hope the session should be not giving you any boring. It has to be very interesting. So I'll try to be, punctual on time and let you finish. Sorry? Hello? 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 Okay. I can't hear it, so no problem. You can keep it on mute. So now the next part is that very quickly we need to understand when we are talking about leadership is that what makes us a good leader. So one of the 2 or 3 basic things that one can do is practice and perfect your leadership skills, and that can only happen when you train hard and often. That's what I said, how much you are investing your time. So you need to read books, you need to implement that, you need to attend webinars, you need to talk people, you need to attend various other seminars, talk about what leaders do, and that will help you to understand that how you can practice these leadership skills. Second most important thing is build high performance culture, because if you don't build high performance culture, people will be happy than settling down with even low performance, and they feel that chalta hai. And this is what a leader has to talk about, that low performance is not acceptable. And performance does not mean only achieving your targets. Performance means that you live to the highest standards, ethical standards of doing the way or the work that you are doing. You are giving your 100% to the work. You are not just giving 80% to the work. And if somebody is not giving 100% to the work, you have to make sure that rest of the team, if they are giving 100%, why you are not giving 100%. And that's where, the team pressure builds up. And that's what the role of the leader is. That's why you are standing here. And if you look at this picture, it's showing direction. It's showing a direction that this is where we need to go. And the third most important thing is celebrate with the team. And I have seen that, and I've been a part of it, that I've seen that you don't have to find a year end to celebrate. You can always celebrate a small moment that you have built, and even giving a small chocolate to your teammate for a wonderful achievement can make his day, can make his week. And that's what you need to look at it. Start praising people. I'm sure you would all have somewhere read, praise in public, but criticize in private. So when you see that there is an opportunity to reward somebody, don't wait for a special day to come or a special moment to come to make that happen. Just celebrate it then and there on the spot. Even that small, investment of 50, 100 or 200 rupees may give, it's not about the money, it's about your recognition that will make the day of that person. On that day, that person will be so happy that, when that person will come next time, he or she will give maybe, 500% of their, and that's where you start building the performance culture, high performance culture, where people are giving more than what they can give. And then people are not, and in those situations, you will find that people don't feel tired. They rather enjoy their work. They give more, they ooze out more energy. And that's what is the core role of a leader, that how you bring that kind of a performance culture in your system. If you can bring that, I can tell you that your life will become easy. Because if you are not doing that, that means you are doing their job, and then you are running everywhere. And your life becomes easy. If you get the right person on the team, your job becomes easy. So that means you need to work hard in bringing the right person for the right job. If you bring a wrong person in the system, you know what happens. Your results will suffer. You will have to work more harder. That's why you will find many companies, many good companies, many benchmark companies, their standards of selection of criteria of selecting people is extremely tough, extremely high. And they take time, and they say that, even if it takes more time, we don't mind, but let us take the best person. I mean, they do their due diligence to ensure that the best person comes on board. And that only happens when you have, and once that person comes and once that person gets into that culture, automatically what happens, you become a high performing team, and the entire organization become a high performing team. That's why, there are companies who may not be number one in terms of their turnover, but there are companies people want to join, even if they are not number one in terms of their turnover or the high-end product, but because they know that this company has a very good culture. When we use the word culture, it means this, that they have this kind of a practice. But whom they select people who fulfill these leadership criteria. And this is what they find out, that what have you done? So I was recently talking to somebody, as recent as today evening, and this lady was giving an interview, and I asked, how was your interview? And she said that, Arun, the interview was good. And so I thought that they would be checking. They said, no, they asked everything about my KRA. And in 1 hour, they took out everything from my mind in terms of whatever they wanted to ask and they wanted to know. So So it's the skill of that interviewer who will bring out these things from you. And if you have not done these things, you will never be able to narrate it, whether it is your internal promotion or whether you are applying somewhere outside. So until you practice these things, you will not become a great leader. So that's what you need to look at it. And I hope this was useful to all of you. Okay. Now, this is what I say always, action to be taken by the leaders. So I know that some of you have written your vision statements, you have identified your goals. If you have not done it, please do it and build this up and find out your true interest and aspirations. As I mentioned recently, you need to pick up something where you feel that you can do a seriously exceptional work. And don't miss out on this seriously exceptional work, because this is something that can show you that you are a different person, you are a passionate person, and you are different from the crowd. This is what I want you to go back and do it. This is something that whatever you have learned here, you go back and do it in your practice. And that's it. So I think, I hope I'm not pressing too much. It's almost going to be 10:30. And I have a lot to talk. I still have 5-6 slides, but I think that I'll park it because my interaction with you is not going the way I wanted. But anyhow, so I hope you would have got some learning out of this small session that we have done today.
Yes, Arun. Thank you.
Wonderful. So that's what we started, that let's go back and create this positive energy everywhere, create this vibrations everywhere, and share results. Because unless you don't share, because hey, you may get a lot of gyan here and then you may go back, but I want you to go back and try something that you always wanted to try, but you are shying away of doing it. Go and do it, and then tell that this is what I did it. Even if it is wrong, no problem. Even if you are not getting success, no problem. I can tell you the first step itself is taking an action. And that's what I'm saying, that if you do that, you will be benefited. So thank you very much all. I'm winding it up here, and have a great week ahead. And we meet again on 28th of November. And when I meet next time, I would encourage that each one of you don't have to wait for 7 days. If you have done something, you have written your vision statement, write it down on the chat box or our WhatsApp groups, or you come here and share that. I'll give the mic to you, and I want you to create your credibility and visibility in this forum. And that's the one thing that each one of us want to do. Each one of us. If you're on social media or you are on any such tool, why you are there? Because you want to create a credibility of yours. You want to show your visibility, not by showing your fancy photographs, but more with respect to what you are capable of. And that's what people want to know. When you hold a trophy in your hand and you showcase to the group, that shows your credibility. And that's what I want each one of you to achieve. So thank you so very much for being connected, all of you. And share your feedbacks on WhatsApp so that we can encourage more people to come forward if this session was useful to you. Thank you, and a good night to all.
Thank you. Good night. Good night, Anandji.
Thank you.